Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Wednesday, February 18th. Currently, there still is some prescribed burning occurring across the Great Basin in Utah and Nevada, and we will continue to see precipitation, even low elevation snowfall that may allow for more burning, especially pile burning across the Great Basin. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we have had storm systems move through. This does not take into account the storm system that moved into Nevada and Idaho yesterday. So again, some of the amounts on the west side of the basin will be a little bit higher come tomorrow and in the coming days. But over the last 7 days, not including that, we've seen generally precipitation in most areas, at least light. And you can see from the percent of normal over the last 2 weeks on the right, most areas this precipitation has been well below normal for the time of year. But up in Idaho, we have seen some areas that are near normal. Over the last 72 hours, we have seen quite a bit of new snowfall along the Sierra and up into central Idaho. Some new snowfall for the valleys as well, and more modest amounts for the mountains of Utah, but again, we do have additional storm systems to change that. Otherwise, the snow depth is shown here on the right. Again, the highest depths in the Sierra and up into central and eastern Idaho and Wyoming and far northern Utah. But you can see, again, some low elevation snowfall as well. And the current snowpack, again, this is as of yesterday, so it doesn't take into account the new storm totals from the last 24 hours. Still generally well below normal across much of the west. Some areas of the Sierra and then central and eastern Idaho and Wyoming are near or just below normal. Looking at our fuel conditions, the ERCs have generally been on the high side, just with the very warm and dry conditions we've seen recently. But with changes coming, with the current storm systems moving through, you can see the forecast track for the ERCs to significantly decrease, really in all areas of the Great Basin. Here's our current radar picture as of Wednesday morning. So the storm system that moved into the western side of the Great Basin yesterday is now moving eastward and impacting mainly central and eastern areas of the Great Basin, with significant precipitation both in the form of rain and snow. And you can see from the current National Weather Service products as of Wednesday morning, we do have quite a few winter storm warnings here in the pink, and then the winter weather advisories here in the bluish purple. So many areas seeing several inches of new snowfall over the next 24 hours, and in the higher elevations, 1 to 2 feet or more in the Utah mountains. And again, we are seeing another storm system that will move in tomorrow. So we do have additional winter weather advisories on the west side of the Great Basin. Also some very windy conditions over the eastern portion of the region. So today you can see the area of low pressure, a very cold area of low pressure moving eastward through the Great Basin today. We will see those stronger winds continuing, so good dispersion region-wide along with very cold temperatures and precipitation. And you can see the transport winds here. The strongest winds are across the eastern half of Utah and in the central mountains, where wind gusts above 50 miles per hour will continue to occur today. So we will again see those strong winds, and even further west, where the winds aren't quite as strong, we'll still see those gusts in the 30s and 40s. Mixing heights remain high. Otherwise, relative humidity, even with these stronger winds, is still on the high side across the Great Basin, as the storm system does bring those colder temperatures and precipitation to the region, even though we will see those stronger winds. So temperatures will be well below normal, with most highs not getting out of the 30s in all valley locations, with the exception of the far south. As we move into Thursday, that first low moves off into the plains, but we do have a secondary low rotating through the region, which will move into the western Great Basin early on Thursday, and then track eastward across the region Thursday and Friday, bringing another round of precipitation, although not as heavy as what we are seeing with this current system. Otherwise, wind gusts will be quite strong in California, especially the southern half of the state, and then also into the southern half of Nevada going through Thursday. Otherwise, mixing heights remaining high. Temperatures still remain on the cold side, and relative humidity still elevated. As we move into Friday, this storm system will start to exit the region, with still some lingering showers over the eastern areas of the Great Basin and drying over western areas. Otherwise, winds will still be breezy, so we will still see good dispersion across much of Nevada and Utah. And you can see that on the transport winds, not quite as strong, obviously, as what we'll see today into tomorrow, but still breezy, especially in the Arizona Strip and southern Utah. Temperatures will still remain on the cold side, but may tick up a few degrees. Otherwise, relative humidity staying on the high side. So again, with the new snowfall and precipitation moving through, still plenty of opportunity for at least pile burning across the Great Basin. Here's the 3-day total for precipitation. Again, for the next few days, we will see the heaviest amounts in the Sierra and also in the mountains of Utah, with lighter amounts elsewhere across the Great Basin. As we move through the weekend, we will see ridging move across the region, so gradually warming temperatures, lighter winds, and drier conditions. And you can see that going into Sunday. Again, fairly dry conditions, but we do have another area of low pressure moving towards the west coast. So could see some showers or cloud cover up in Idaho, but otherwise temperatures will be rising to at least near normal by the end of the weekend, if not above normal. And then going into the early and mid portion of next week, we will see impacts of this low off the west coast, bringing precipitation at least to the west side of the Great Basin initially before it does start to push precipitation eastward, mainly affecting Nevada and Utah going into next week. So here are the 7-day totals. You can see quite a bit more precipitation moving into California with these storm systems coming over the next week and into the Sierra. So good amounts of snow expected for the higher elevations, adding to that snowpack. And then we will see some of that precipitation move across the region. 8 to 14-day outlook still shows above normal precipitation for the Great Basin and kind of a mix, mostly near to above normal temperatures, especially over the eastern half of the region. So that concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Friday for the latest updates.